Hi, welcome back to Public Administration, and we are now on Module 9. And this week, actually, we'll pick up the discussion again. So I know we had a break for spring break, and we get to restart. This week, you're going to first read Chapter 8 of the textbook, and this covers policy analysis and implementation evaluation. And this is really a core part of public administration and social policy. It's where everything comes together, and policy evaluation is a constant in public administration. So no matter what level of bureaucrat you are, you will be evaluating policy. At a higher level, you have the administrators and the managers implementing and evaluating policy, but this also happens on the street level. For example, law enforcement, every time they act, they are evaluating policy. So they're using discretion, and this takes place at a very rapid pace. So what seems like a gut reaction shouldn't be. It should actually be taking consideration of policy. And we will get into that later on in the class when we look at law enforcement and the use of force. So a lot of times people will look at law enforcement and they'll think that the use of force is a gut reaction, when in reality we're going to use a case of the Las Vegas Police Department to illustrate that there should be more of a process to this, and when implemented, it saves a lot of problems for the officers and for the community. So in your paper you're writing, you are going to be basically doing policy analysis on the individual level or the administrative level, and we're going to be using a different policy analysis tool than I use in my social policy class. So my social policy class, I go over the Berkeley method, the seven path to policy analysis. The one we're using in this class is actually from Delft, so TU Delft in the Netherlands. It's a university that has a five-part method. So they start with problem definition, so ID the problem. Then the second part is definition of the policy. That's where you narrow things down. Then 3, you develop a policy, and 4, you implement the policy, and then number 5, you enforce and evaluate the policy. And so at that point, it all starts all over again. So as soon as that happens, you're reevaluating what you've done, and the process should be continuous. So you're never done with this process. So we're using the Delft method, and for the paper, so it's going to be basically 5 parts. You worked on the first part already, and this coming week you'll work on the second part. And what will happen is, as you do this, you'll stitch together the parts of a paper, and it'll be very easy to have this once you're done. Each part may be different lengths of writing, so you might have 1 or 2 paragraphs for one section, and other sections may be over a page. And so together you're going to basically have your policy analysis, but it will come together fairly easy for you as we go through this in increments. So policy analysis is something that all bureaucrats should learn how to do. A lot of them are doing it, they're just not aware of it, but most people should be more conscious of how they're analyzing what they are doing. So your first section, like I said, you identify the problem, and from what I've read so far, looks like people have some good starts to their paper. So the Dropbox this week, you're going to continue the paper, so there'll be another section where you could just write a couple paragraphs if you want, and we'll expand things as we go. So you're going to read the 8th chapter of the textbook. complete the next Dropbox assignment. Then you're going to have a quiz, and you're going to post your initial post to discussion 9. So you're going to have a whole new discussion that's going to get back to the book, and getting back to what public administration discussions typically are. So you're going to have a couple discussions based on that. You're going to post to both of those, and then we do have a checklist. And going down here, let's see. Make sure like I said, make sure you answer your discussion questions on the prior discussion. And I will open up all 3 threads. So you should have posted initial post to 2 of them. The third one will be open. You could jump on any discussion you want. And again, make sure you do this in 3 different days. So I'm going to get to this section here. So our Dropbox is basically part 2 of your paper. The paper is going to be very short. It's only 5 pages. So I've really lowered the amount of pages due for this paper. 5 is a minimum. They have to be 5 complete pages. Don't turn in a paper that's 4 3/4 pages or less. Make sure you have at least 5 pages. But I want you to understand this process. While you're doing this, you're going to focus on the problem and make sure you explain how it's administrative in nature. So you went pretty wide with your first Dropbox. Your second one, you're going to narrow it down. So you're going to write a couple paragraphs to help identify the issue or issues associated with this problem. So many problems are the result of numerous issues, but you're gonna identify these, and then as we move on, you're gonna narrow it down. So this is a section where you go kind of wide, but make sure you keep this administrative in nature. This isn't going to be a political issue or a social issue. This is going to be an administrative issue. So we're going to focus on the process. So an example I'll have of how to do this section, you could, let's say if we use the Flint water case, you can discuss a few different ways that this could be handled. So this is where you're going a little bit wide. So you can propose, okay, this could be a federal issue that could be resolved or managed by the EPA, or it could be a state issue. So you can mention this as well, that it could be a state issue. The state of Michigan should have been more responsible for maintaining. Or 3, that there should be more power with the town and a local government to manage their own water. And you can, like I said, you can go wide. So at this point, you would discuss maybe each of these 3 levels, not too in depth, but you're just going to have your basic discussion. And the next section after this, you will narrow it down. But again, make sure this is kept administrative in nature. And this might be the really hard part for some of the students in the class. And I generally have to send an email back, telling you to focus on the administration. So again, this isn't going to be an overview of a general problem. You're going to be focusing on processes. This is what public administration does. And if you go on to study public administration, you'll realize this really quick when you study administrative law. What the administrative law section is looking at is, are the processes followed the way they should be followed? If there's a process failure, that's when you have the concern with the administration. So it's quite different than a lot of people are used to looking at, but it helps to see things in a new lens. And that's the idea of this class. I want you to leave knowing that we could have social problems, we could have political problems, and then to understand that there is an administrative way to deal with all of these problems. So this is very optimistic, and I know that we go to some dark cases in this class, but as we're doing this, it's very optimistic in nature. So it's looking at how to fix things. It's not looking at how to identify something bad and walk away from it, or just say this is bad. Public administration, we are studying how to fix problems, and that should be the drive, and that should be what gets people excited about doing this. So if you have any questions, feel free to get in touch with me. I'm open for phone conferences where I can meet face to face at the university. If you need to meet me in Rapid City, I'm in Rapid City on Wednesdays, so I teach classes in Rapid on Wednesdays, and I could, make some time to meet with you. But this should be pretty simple. Again, if you have any questions, reach out to me, and I will set up a thread. I will put up here in a discussion thread. Let's see here. I will put up a section where I'll change this general questions thing to this problem identification. I'll go ahead and change this to a paper issues section. And if you have any issues, go ahead and type them on here. Maybe you guys can help each other. If not, I'll jump on and give you an answer. But that way, if you have a problem, speak up, and I will be glad to answer it, because chances are if you have an issue, someone else probably has it as well. If you're not comfortable doing that, go ahead and send me an email in D2L. I'll be glad to get back to you on that. So have a great week, and look forward to reading your papers. And I will get back to all of you on your first Dropbox for the papers. So read your comment section in there. Those will be done in the order they came in. So starting tomorrow, I'll get back to you on those. But this should be fairly straightforward and not too difficult. And from what I read so far, you've, as a class, you guys have done a great job. So thank you.